Welcome, everyone, to the Wonder Boldly podcast. I am your host, Christine Santos, and I am passionate about motivating you to go after and achieve your goals. My goal is to encourage you to know that you also possess the choice to live the life you desire. This podcast covers lessons learned from female entrepreneurs and small businesses to tips on how to create a podcast that will help grow your business. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wonder Boldly. So it is 2026 as I'm recording this, and what a great way to start the year was with family and friends and really kind of taking a pause, unintentional, but definitely needed. And it made me really think about how important our message, our voice, the things that we share, how important they really are. I know when we had family here, we shared stories of grief. I'm sure that so many of you, us here definitely, 2025 was a season of loss. And, we talked about it. And we also talked about the different ways people go through grief, sharing stories and just connecting. No right or wrong answer, just hearing each other, holding space for somebody telling a story about maybe somebody they had lost in 2025. And it was really, what's a good word? I want to say nice. It was heartwarming. It was healing. That's a good word. I feel that one. It was healing. I was sharing about my brother who I lost in 2025 and my journey in grieving that loss. And there's so many layers, as we all know. One of my clients interviewed a grief specialist, ironically, before my brother had passed, and I had edited that episode, and it was very, very helpful for me. But all to say, we don't escape this life without grief. And grief can be the loss of a loved one. It can be the loss of a job. It can be the loss of a dream that you once had and now no longer serves you. So many levels of grief. So it was really nice to be with family and friends, have that discussion, because that was poignant at the time. My brother passed away at the end of 2025, so it was fresh on our minds, a discussion point, having, the air filled with stories of him and how I was feeling, how others were feeling. And like I said, others had their own losses to share. And so I paused. Like I said, it wasn't intentional. I didn't really plan on it. And I just let it be what it was. And I wanted to create this episode today because I have so much news about podcasting, which you all know I love so much. And I get so excited. Now there's awards for podcasting. You can't turn on the TV without somebody talking about podcasting, or the radio, somebody talking about podcasts. I mean, podcasting is such a great medium, and I love it. And I'm in an amazing group of podcasters, and I take classes and, all the things. So I thought, somewhere in the stories over this season, people were talking about how it was so wonderful to have a record of the voice of somebody they lost. Whether it was a voicemail, maybe they had their own podcast and they've passed away and now they can still go back, the family can still go back and listen to that. Whatever it is, there are different avenues to do that, I'm sure. I remember when my daughter was little, there was, and I'm sure there still is, I'm just not in that world anymore, but there were teddy bears and stuffed animals that you could put a voice box in of somebody's voice, or a story book, something like that. And it really is, so powerful on so many levels. Podcasting can grow your business. It can grow your brand. It can be left as a legacy. It can be something you do just for fun, just because you want to. It can be a private podcast, something that you want to put out in the world, but you only want to share it with a select few people. It is such a powerful medium. And the nice thing about it is whether you do video or not, you can have people listen to podcasts. So your audience can listen or watch your podcast if it's on video while they're doing things, while they're maybe just sitting relaxing. I know a lot of my podcasts that I listen to are really business podcasts. I have a favorite one. I've had it for years. It's the Chris Harder Show. It didn't used to be called the Chris Harder Show. It was good, something about good people who make good money, do good things. I don't know, something like that. But anyways, all to say, I've been listening to his podcast for years and met so many wonderful people through Chris Harder, actually, because I've been in some of his programs. This is not an ad for Chris Harder. Check him out. If you're an entrepreneur, definitely. He's and his wife, Lori Harder, are amazing. But what I'm trying to say is I can be getting my hair done and doing a deep dive on my business while listening to a podcast from Chris Harder. I can be driving, have a long drive and listening to one of his podcasts. He is my favorite for sure. All to say, you can fit a podcast in whenever it feels right for you. So I'm here to tell you, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a human who has loved ones in the world and you have messages to share with them, you could start a podcast. If you just feel like you have so much to say and you just want to put it out in the world because it's fun to you, because you enjoy speaking, you can have a podcast. The entry to having a podcast, there's this expression that I can never remember what it is. And you already are listening to me and you're like yelling at me what it is. The barrier to entry is really low. I think that's it. So starting a podcast is very easy, very inexpensive if you decide to do your own producing. Of course, if you hire me, I do produce podcasts, and that's an expense. I also train people how to do podcasts. So you would pay up front to learn how to do a podcast, how to edit all the things, and then you'd be off and running. So there's different tiers, you could take a free workshop. I've done those. You could get my freebie on how to start a podcast. You could YouTube it. You could, DIY it and really start a podcast easily and for not too much of a hit on your bank account. I don't like to say bank account. I don't know why I said that. I was going to say wallet. And then I felt like wallet was really old school. Anyways, so you could DIY starting your own podcast for sure. And it can be quite inexpensive. You could take a class. You could reach out to me and learn how to start a podcast. And many people have done, and it is reasonably priced. Or you could hire somebody like myself to produce your podcast. Wherever you are in your storytelling journey, in your business growth, if you don't have a podcast, I highly, highly recommend it. It is so easy and so fun. It does take time. Don't get me wrong. It does take time, but there are tips and tricks I can give you to cut down on how much time. So, I've been doing this for years now. I've produced thousands of episodes, and I can tell you, I know so many tips and tricks to make it really easy, really fun, and not take up too much of your time. So, came back in here on Wonder Boldly today to say to you, I hope you had a good holiday season. I hope you are doing what feels right to you in 2026. And if one of those things is starting a podcast, please reach out to me. Okay, until next time, continue to wonder boldly. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, please give it a 5-star review and recommend it to a friend. This shows me the impact my podcast is making and helps spread these messages so more people can listen to this podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and I hope this podcast motivates and inspires you to pursue your dreams. Until next time, continue to wonder boldly.